Hi. So, what are the Akashic records? That's a question many people want to know. Akasha comes from the Sanskrit word meaning the ethers. I'm Jen Shen of jendushen.com. I'm an Akashic healer, reader, teacher, um, and I want to share some of this insight. The Akashic records actually want to share some insight. What's interesting about the Akashic Records is that it is constantly changing, just like we are. It's a vast container, uh, a space beyond our imagining that contains everything that's ever been, everything we've ever done, and the possibility and potential of what we will do, remembering that nothing is fixed because we have free will, we have choice. So if you enter through the front door and you ask a question, what will I do tomorrow? Thinking that it's all fixed. Uh, well, the Akashic records, and you don't know which doorway you're going to leave out of. You may leave out the window. And so, whatever you've been told could be all wrong. There's a key issue here in this library, right? If you want to call it a library, this vast expanse of knowledge, of knowing of what you've done in every soul incarnation, whether it's on earth or somewhere else, what you could do. What are your secrets or knowledge or knowing or why you've done things, why you're trapped in certain things? There is all these questions contained in the Akashic records and the potential of the answers. Remembering that not just you as a human have a soul. Everything around us has a soul. Buildings, plants, animals, and they all have an Akashic record too. Even agreements have Akashic records because we are constantly creating things. So everything that's manifested has a record. It has a soul, it has a vibration that pulls us in. And it expands the opportunity for us to know ourselves and to know more about why we do things. Lots of times people want to go back into the records to hear about something in their past. And yes, that's valid to hear something because it gives us confirmation. I always wondered why I had a fear of water or why I'm afraid of heights. Those kinds of questions can actually be answered in the records. We can also ask questions about what should I do next? What's my soul path? Remembering that the Akashic Records is a collection of beings that have never morphed into something else. They've always been inside the records. They have no agenda. Most of us have spirits or guides with us, angels that walk with us, that talk to us, that they often have an agenda. They want us to do things a certain way. If you've ever been incarnated, just like us, we have assumptions about how things should be done. This is the way it's supposed to be. Do it my way. In the Akashic Records, it doesn't work like that. It's a space that's held in unconditional love. So the Akashic masters, beings, guides, uh, want you to express who you are. They want you to have the freedom to be who you are. Uh, we as humans tend to think very linearly, and we want to uh, have certain successes in the world. We want to be recognized in the world by doing what the world tells us we're supposed to do. With the Akashic Records, uh, that's not how it works. It's about expressing all of you, allowing that healing to come into you. So if we ask questions, we want to know the answers because we want to be freed. We want to free our sense of free will so we can go ahead and become who we are. So that's an aspect of the records that is given to us. The knowledge of what has been, the awareness that whatever has been created can never die. It goes into storage in the Akashic records. So everything that's ever been, everything that could be, is stored in the records and is accessible to us. So we don't need to fear losing what we've been because, it's kind of like a pile of bricks. We do certain things and it builds us and it creates us. And then we get to a certain point, like now in this time in the world, where everything is shifting and we get to let go of that shape or that thing that has been so valid to us, that's been so important. I can't let go of this building, of this idea, of this structure that's been created. This is history. This tells me who I am. Knowing that it's stored in the Akashic records means that we can freely let go of it to make room for new things, knowing that nothing ever disappears. It's always there. Everything is energy, and there are so many ways to disperse energy. So when you're connected to the records, when you're talking, I'm a channel for the Akashic records, and there are many of us, and we're all read or channel differently. We're not identical in how we serve through the records. Some people give great information about past lives. Some people give great information about what's happening right now. Others bring through healing. So there's all different ways of doing it. The area that I work in is the contract area, the area where we often have made agreements about our patterns, why we do certain things, and we can be trapped in those patterns. So, as much as we try to move forward or shift out of our behavior, we feel trapped. Like, I can only go so far, no further, constantly pushing against this idea of not being able to do what we really want, not feeling free, feeling trapped, feeling confined by our ideas about what love is, what emotion is, what acceptable things are. And all of those things are created by humans. We create this kind of structure that we can be safe in, and we expect everyone to conform to our idea of what reality is. And of course, these are all man made things. So, what the records give us is this evidence and knowledge of wisdom beyond our narrow confinement, beyond what we know, what's obvious or what people have told us. There's so much more out there, so much in the records about this stuff. So it's a very exciting medium when you're in pain, when you're suffering, when you're wondering why you're hooked into something, into a certain behavior, worrying about what people think about you, in pain in a relationship because you can't seem to get out of a certain behavior or belief or response. A lot of those are things that you've agreed to in past lives or experienced and have said in your mind, this is who I am. This idea that you can only be a certain way because you've been made this way, right? You've been made out of, like if you were a cake and you were made out of uh, flour and eggs and water. That's it. I can only be flour, eggs, and water, and the sum of that. But it's not true. Once you're out in the world and you're experiencing things, tasting things, being tasted, the expansion or the energy around you uh, expands. And so you change, you shift. And the more you open up yourself to the knowledge that is held in the wisdom of the Akashic records, in this grand library that contains all this information, the freer you become, especially when you are not so dependent on it being so exactingly real. Naming it. Oh, this is a round ring. It can only be a round ring. It can be other things, and you can receive information through it that can change you. It's about transformation. This is what the Akashic records is, and what brings to us the ability to transform, because we can relax into knowing whatever I am, whatever I've been made of, that essence of me is still there and will be there no matter how much I change. So the more I invite change, the more I trust that I'm connected not only to divine knowledge, to the Akashic wisdom, the records, but also rooted in the earth, present in a physical space, the easier it becomes for me to live my purpose and be free, to actually live from a place of freedom. Okay, so I will be back. I'm going to be doing some healings, information, drawing cards. I created a card deck in the Akashic Records. So I'll be doing more of that in the future. And for now, have an amazing day, rest of the week. And as I said, I'm Jen Duchenne of jenduchenne.com. And I will post more details below.